Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Jays Talkin. Matt and Andrew here to bring some baseball talk from our living rooms to yours. Just a heads up, all of our interviews are up on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and now Apple Podcasts. So go check them out and be sure to drop us a subscription. Today's guest was a 29th round pick in the 2018 MLB draft out of Central Florida. Please welcome pitcher Cre Finfrock. Cre, how you doing today?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing pretty well, man. What's been going on during quarantine?
Just another day living a normal life, I guess. Working, still working out, throwing. Really, just kind of, I guess, getting a feel for what it feels like to be a 9-to-5 job. I guess you could say.
What kind of work you been doing?
I detail boats, so I'm at a boatyard all day on boats. You name it on a boat, I do it. So, besides fixing them.
Has that always been a thing? Did you just start getting into boats, or how did you land that job? You've always been a big boat guy?
Yeah, if I grew up around boats, fishing, anything to do with the water, I've always kind of done. During the off season, just kind of fell into my lap. I just was driving around to all the different marinas, and being my town's based on water, I just drove around to every marina looking to get hired, and they just happened to be hiring. So got lucky, and it just turned out to be an awesome job that I've stuck with. So
That's a good job. You're not sitting around the desk. You get to get outside. You get to meet the people. I'm sure that's a fantastic job. What other hobbies have you been doing during quarantine? Any new hobbies or anything?
nothing new. Like I said, just fishing. That's really about it. I work, throw, work out, and fish. It's really all about.
That doesn't sound like a bad deal right now. But
Yeah, nothing too interesting, but just the basics, I guess.
So you're born in Seneca, South Carolina, and you live in Jensen Beach, Florida right now, correct?
That's correct.
So where does the name Cre come from? We're all wondering, how'd you get the name Cre?
So I believe it's my dad's great uncle. His name is Crescendo, and his nickname was Cre, and my parents just liked Cre. They don't want it to be Crescendo, so that's kind of where it stemmed from.
A lot of parents do that. They get the great uncle, some kind of great uncle from years ago that had a good name, and they always end up naming like a kid that or something. I have a couple of friends who are like that.
Definitely different.
When did you first start playing baseball, man?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you an age. I've just been playing it since I can remember. I don't know when I started. Maybe, I don't know if it's a 3 or 4 year old thing. I'm not really sure. Just as long as I can remember.
Yeah, I think everybody we've interviewed said 3 to 4 or 5 years old, they start picking up the bat or they start throwing the baseball around the backyard. And who are some of your favorite players growing up when you were watching the game early?
Honestly, I didn't really watch a ton of baseball growing up. I mean, I played it. I just never really had anybody. I mean, I went to games. I just never really watched it on TV, so I never really had a favorite player necessarily growing up. Not even necessarily a favorite team, but I mean, recently I've obviously, being from Florida, I liked the Marlins, and then now obviously the Blue Jays. So, yeah, it's just I was more of an outdoors person. I never really was inside watching TV. I rode dirt bikes, fished. Didn't really do a whole lot inside. So
you went to Martin County High School in Florida, 4-year letter winner for baseball. You also wrestled in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that helped your mentality as a reliever, coming out on the mound, having to have kind of like a bulldog mentality?
I guess you could say so. I mean, I'd never really put that 2 and 2 together, I guess. I know when I wrestled, my coach, it was drilled into us just intensity. Obviously, being a wrestling, it's one-on-one, kind of, I guess, same with the pitcher as a pitcher and a batter. So it's.
You got the opportunity to play with Team USSSA, and you got to go to the Czech Republic. What was that experience like for you?
That was awesome. I think it was the first time I ever was out of the country to that extent. Whole different world over there. It was fun. Different people, different languages. It was fun to experience different cultures.
And especially as a high schooler, that had to be kind of a culture shock to you, right?
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't understand anybody's language. didn't understand any signs. We were kind of stuck to our hotel, and we kind of wandered off a little bit, nothing too far. And then just seeing the different architecture of they have over there, it's completely different from Florida. So it was kind of a shell shock.
You were taken by the Brewers in the 26th round in 2014 draft out of high school. Was that a tough decision to pass up and go to college? Was that weighing on you, or what were you thinking at that point in time?
Honestly, at that point in time, it wasn't a hard decision. I had my heart set to go into college. I just loved UCF. I loved the atmosphere around there. I loved the team. Yeah, it wasn't really a hard decision. I mean, maybe it would have been if I was been earlier, had more money offered, but it wasn't. I had my heart set just from the beginning, really.
What was that experience like going to UCF? You're a freshman. You're coming in. It's one of the biggest schools in the nation, and you're just a freshman. How was that transition for you?
It was fun. I mean, like I said, it was an awesome school, awesome surrounding area. Right there in Orlando, Oviedo. It's a beautiful area. A lot of traffic, a lot of people. When you're there, it doesn't seem like it's any different than any other college town. More people, less people. It kind of just felt normal to me, I guess. I don't know. I've been to other schools, and it just kind of seemed the same. You don't really see all 60,000 or however many students there are.
Two of your teammates from your high school went to UCF with you, Brad Rowley and James Vasquez. How nice was it having them around, and especially during your freshman year?
Yeah, it was awesome. It made the transition to going there a lot easier. I knew people on the team. I wasn't going in there not knowing anybody. James I'd never played with him actually in high school. I was at Jensen Beach High School for my first year, and that's when he was a senior. But I mean, I'm good friends with his brother. So I knew him, and then Brad was one of my good buddies going to college. It was nice.
Your freshman year, you went 7-5 with a 3.30 ERA, and then you had 73 Ks to go along with it. And you also tossed a complete game at USF on May 2nd of that year. What was it feeling like throwing a complete game in your first year in college?
Honestly, I don't necessarily remember throwing it. I know obviously I did it. I remember it was long. It was definitely a lot longer than one inning. So, it was fun.
All the games start running together after those, the three.
Yeah. And then I had a gap year with my shoulder surgery. So it seemed like a long time ago.
You had a 4.26 ERA with 5 quality starts your sophomore year. You were named on the All American Conference honor roll. How hard was it to balance college workload and the sports college sports?
So that year was a really difficult year for me. Not necessarily with school or in baseball. It was just difficult. I was battling shoulder injury. That's kind of when I started having shoulder issues with my labrum. Didn't know exactly what it was. Couldn't figure it out why I was having issues. Just kept battling through it. Workload and trying to balance that with athletics. It wasn't so much hard to balance it. It was hard for me to figure out what was wrong with my shoulder. That was my main concern. So I never really had a problem with school. It was just more that one year that I was really kind of struggling on the field with performance-wise due to the shoulder.
You also played in the Cape Cod League that year with a fellow Blue Jay, Kevin Smith. Can you give us a little insight into what the Cape Cod League is like and things that you remember from that summer?
It was awesome up there. I was only up there for a couple weeks, and then I came back home to get an MRI on my shoulder. But while I was up there, it was awesome. Weather was beautiful. Fans were obviously pretty lively. It was a great experience. It was nice to go up there and just see how the Cape was and experience summer ball for my first year.
And you've talked about it. Your junior year, you missed due to an injury. Talk us through your road to recovery a little bit, and what helped you stay positive through it all?
What helped me stay positive was just knowing my work ethic. I knew that I was going to come back. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I knew I was putting in the work to to be ready for the following year. I knew what I wanted to do in life. I wanted to play professional baseball. So I never really let that surgery kind of bring me down. I just kind of use that as kind of motivation and not necessarily a setback.
And then you came back in your redshirt junior year. You went 5-0, and you also held batters to a 185 batting average. Looking back on your time at UCF, do you have a favorite memory?
Favorite memory? Let's see.
On or off the field?
Nothing really in specific. Like I said, everything there was just a great experience. I guess my best experience or best thing that I can look back onto is getting drafted, having the opportunity of being drafted. That was awesome, especially after having that surgery.
You rocked us in right to your next question. So take us back to draft day. What were you doing? How was it? What was going on?
Yeah, so draft day. I was back home. We got knocked out of our conference tournament early. I was back home. Nothing really crazy. I wasn't having a draft party. I knew nothing was really going to happen early, given the circumstances. So I was just kind of hanging out with family, washing my truck, just doing a normal day, just kind of hanging out, waiting for a call, and it finally came. But yeah, it was a good day. Everybody was super excited, and just knowing that all that work paid off. So.
Your first year, you had 3 starts in Bluefield before you became a full-time reliever. What is that transition like, going from starting to being a reliever now?
The biggest thing for me that first year was trying to get my arm warmed up. I was used to kind of having a routine building up to that start. Yeah, it was really just kind of the warm-up time in the pen. I didn't really know how to handle myself in the pen. I didn't know when I should start stretching. Didn't know what my role was at that point. I didn't know what I was doing. Just kind of winged it at that point. I just started stretching, kind of seemed like throughout the game, didn't know what was going on. So some of the guys that were full-time relievers at that point, they kind of guided me in the way and what I should do and kind of how to prepare myself.
Next year, you led the Midwest League in saves last year. What was working well for you in Lansing?
I mean, different days had different things. Some days it was my fastball, some days it was my slider, some days it was nothing. I guess the one thing that just worked was just having a mentality that I only had to get 3 outs. I always went out there to saying I was a starter. I went 4 or 5 innings many times. So I was like, if I can do that, I can get 3 outs. So that's just kind of bulldogging the way through, and has had some good outings, had some bad outings, but it's all worked out.
How nice was the honor of getting selected to the Midwest League AllStar postseason AllStar team at the end of the year?
It was pretty cool. It was just another day. When Dallas told me, I was just warming up on the line for another game. So wasn't really expecting. I was really just trying to just keep the team to stay in the game. I wanted to make sure we got the win. So wasn't really concerned with my own stats.
What a team player. You got called up here to Dunedin last year in 2019, and we were in obviously a bit of a weird position playing at Jack Russell Stadium while TD Ballpark is being built. You come in here. How was that one experience in Dunedin last year?
It was awesome. Everything happened so quick. I got called up and had a game. Didn't play that game. Following day was a doubleheader, and it happened to be the last day of season. So it was fun while it lasted.
When baseball returns, whenever that will be, what are some big goals? What are some big goals for you?
I'm really just trying to take another stepping stone where I left off last year. Just want to keep climbing, obviously, until I get to the big leagues. Specific goals necessarily, just kind of what we've talked about with the team, just kind of executing fastballs. Had some times last year where I was trying to they want me to elevate the fastball, and I just lived down. It's kind of something that I was hammered in college my first 2 years, to live down the zone. So that's really one of the goals for me.
We kind of buried the lead here, but you had a great 2019 season, obviously, but 2019 and going into 2020 here now, it's pretty exciting for you. You got married, you're having a kid,
Mm-hmm.
you started a business.
Uh-huh.
How can you describe this past year for you?
A whirlwind of everything. A lot of emotions, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. More ups than downs. So it's a lot going on for sure.
You want to talk a bit about your business? What kind of business is it?
It's a fishing apparel company. Not as, I guess I can't just say fishing. It's going to be when it's scaled up, fishing, surfing, anything to do with the water. I'm actually wearing a hat and shirt right now. Just gotta support it. Yeah, I'm just trying to bring quality gear to anybody that's a sea fanatic. That's the name of it. So pretty cut and dry. So
Sea Fanatic, where can they find you? You guys got social media up and running yet? How do you spell it? Where can they find you at?
yeah, I have a website, Instagram, Facebook. All that's up and running. The shop's up and running. It's spelled SEAC and then Fanatic instead of Fanatic. It's Fanatic, FINATIC.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to definitely check it out. And fans, make sure you go check out Sea Fanatic and go support Cre's business and get some good outer beach wear and some fishing wear. I know that's really big down here in Florida. So you're definitely in the right market. So we want to thank you so much, Cre, for taking some time to sit down and talk some baseball with us. Anything you'd like to say to the fans out there?
Oh, stay strong. Everybody's in this together. We'll be back soon.
Thank you, Cre, and thank you, fans, for joining us for another edition of Jays Talkin. Matt, Andrew, and Cre Finfrock signing off.
Thank you.